Willpower is not a long-term solution to changing your relationship with alcohol. If you're trying to use willpower to quit drinking, watch this video. I'm going to explain to you why that doesn't work and what you can do instead. So, a lot of us think like, oh, I'm going to quit drinking. Like, I'm just going to like force my way through it, right? A lot of sort of ways of thinking about it are like that. Like, oh, I just have to want it bad enough. I have to have my rock bottom. That's another thing that drives me crazy. And I'll talk about that in a future video. But like, I need to want it bad enough. And then I need to force it through. I need to just cram this square peg of an alcohol-free life into the round hole that is my current life. And we think that if we do that long enough, if we push hard enough, if we are angry enough, if we are intense enough, if we are, I don't know, if we just bring as much energy to bear as possible on it, that we will just force this new thing into creation. Holy shit, I wish it worked that way, but it doesn't. One of the reasons that people try and quote unquote fail, but try and fail and try and fail and try and fail, is because they try to do it with willpower. If that is you, if you are finding yourself trying to will your way through this, pay attention to what I'm saying here. Because the fact of the matter is, willpower isn't enough. Do you need it sometimes? Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes you need willpower to get through, say, a difficult evening. Maybe you're at a wedding for the first time. Maybe you're at a funeral for the first time. Maybe, who the hell cares? Maybe it's your first fucking Tuesday. It doesn't matter. If willpower was the answer, you'd already be done drinking. You wouldn't need to be watching this video. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And I want to talk about why willpower just isn't what it's cracked up to be. Willpower is a short-term tool, right? It is not something that is going to get you across the finish line. I like to equate it, and you've probably heard this before. We talk about willpower like a muscle, right? So like imagine you're going to a gym and you're at the gym and you're doing curls and you're doing great. But there's going to come a point, and I don't care how light that weight is, but there is going to come a point where if you keep doing curls, you're not going to be able to get there. That's what willpower is. That forcing it. That idea of like, all right, I'm working out. I'm using this muscle. I'm using will to override what I think I actually want. That can work in a pinch, but it's not going to get you where you want to go. I remember I had a time, I tried to quit drinking for about 5 years before I actually did it, and the stakes were high. Like I things weren't good in my life. We'll put it that way. And like the more I tried with willpower, the more I failed and the worse that I felt. Like I remember one time in particular being in a hotel room, in I think it was Chicago. Shit, I don't remember. I used to travel a lot. But I was in this hotel room in Chicago and I was trying not to drink. And so I didn't go out to dinner because I'm like, well, restaurants are going to be a trigger, right? I didn't really want to leave my hotel room because, like the world was a trigger. And so I'm like sitting in my hotel room and I am no shit, like literally gripping, I'm in a desk chair, right? In that you can think of like a Marriott hotel room desk chair that's got arms. And I'm sitting there gripping the arms, like quite literally white knuckling it. And it was like this force of wanting to drink was just like coming at me so hard. And I just had all of these thoughts and all of these emotions and all of this intensity just like bearing down on me. And it felt like at the time, my only defense then was just to try to push back, just to literally squeeze onto the armrests of that chair and fight back and just try to ignore it, try to push through it. Now, here's the thing. I actually made it a few hours. I did. I made it a few hours that way. I was like, putting baseball on the TV and shit. And I was trying to do what I could. I think I maybe called my wife. Like I did things to try to get through, but the willpower did not last all night. And I am sad to say that before, I don't even know it was, I doubt it was even 8 o'clock at night. I was out, I was out buying alcohol. And I'd finished work around 4. So I had about 4 hours of free time. I made it 4 hours on willpower, right? That's not bad, but it wasn't what I wanted. And the reason for that was that the effort required for me to push back was so intense that I could only do it for a certain period of time. And so it got me thinking about like, well, what is it that like, what needs to happen? Like if willpower isn't enough, like what needs to happen? Well, what needs to happen is insight. See, freedom comes from insight, not from force. This is the thing that, like, so often when people talk about this process of quitting drinking, this is the thing that I think gets overlooked quite regularly. We have this idea, that, oh, I'm just going to push, I'm going to force, I'm going to like make it happen. And that is great. And I love the enthusiasm that comes from it. But that is not what leads to lasting change. What leads to lasting change is deep personal insight about the nature of drinking, the nature of why you want to drink, right? And I know this sounds a little wooey, but I'm telling you, like, I've seen it thousands of times over. Insight in a deep insight in terms of what you want, in terms of how you want to live, in terms of how you want to feel, in terms of what your life is going to be like. That is the magic sauce. That is the stuff that is actually going to help you get to where you want to go. Yeah, willpower can be a part of it, but it's not the only thing. And as a matter of fact, if you keep using willpower, you're going to burn out. I can't tell you, how many people I've coached, one-on-one and in groups where willpower has been the only thing, like literally the only thing, the only tool. And for some people, they use it for years and it goes on and on. But you know what happens is we get tired. We try to use willpower and we get tired and we get wiped out and we start thinking, I'm a failure. I can't do this. This is impossible. Fuck it, I'm gonna drink. And this is what I see, and it's a tragedy because, like, actually using that much willpower is quite a feat. Like, using that much willpower to actually move in that direction is an incredible achievement. It's just not what is needed to actually get to where we want to go. I'll talk about this in a later video too, but like the reason that we're quitting drinking is we're quitting drinking to experience peace. Right? We're quitting drinking to get rid of all the thoughts and emotions and all of this stuff that's running around in our minds. The reality is that in order to get to that place of peace, we need to do something other than brute force. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Like, wait a minute. Like, if I'm trying to get to peace, then maybe, like, I can't force peace, right? I always think of, if you're a Seinfeld fan, I'm a Seinfeld fan, I always think of Serenity Now. Like, that's what I think of when I think of trying to force peace. So here's the takeaway that I want you to think about, right? Willpower is not the answer. Yes, it can be helpful. Yeah, it might even be necessary in certain times, but real freedom, true freedom, comes from insight. It comes from being able to see a different world, from being able to see different possibilities for you, from being able to connect with the fact, not the chance, the fact that you can change, that this is actually possible. So you might hear that and you be like, great, dude, that's awesome. Like, where do I find that? Give me some of that. Well, subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more of that. But there's a ton of this stuff out there, right? Like, you can listen to me. I hope you do listen to me, but like, listen to other people too. There are so many stories over and over and over of people who have been in the position you are in, that when they found that insight, when they found that inner version of themselves, were able to make that transition without all the willpower, without all the struggle. It is possible, friend. So, like, pay attention to that. So if you like this, subscribe. You can hear more like this. I have so many plans for this YouTube channel. But also look out and go out and around. Like, try to find other people, other things that are examples for you that you can use to be like, that's the transition I want to make. The more you see this stuff, the more you start to realize it's possible for you. And that's the key thing moving forward.